Hello everyone, Ken and Loey here. This time more of a very serious channel update video. Um, as I've put down on here, uh, and most likely the title of the video, I might end up deleting my channel in December of this year because of the new regulations regarding the Federal Trade Commission and YouTube and the whole COPPA thing. So I don't want to go super in depth into the whole COPPA situation because there's so many videos on YouTube right now that go more in depth than I was planning to. So basically the short term of it is, or the short story of it is that COPPA is supposed to be a law that it was made in 1998, and it is a law that's supposed to make it so that websites cannot gather information from children. And which on the surface it does sound good. However, on YouTube though, YouTube has put in there that supposedly you're supposed to be 13 or older in order to use YouTube as a platform. But YouTube, from collecting information from their viewers, which ended up being children, they use that information for targeted ads, and that violated COPPA. So the whole deal with this is that the Federal Trade Commission has made it so that starting January of 2020, YouTube content creators, so anyone who makes videos on YouTube, you have to, well, YouTube has a thing where you put in there what your intended audience is. So either put it for made for kids or not made for kids, and there isn't an in-between on that, which doesn't really make a lot of sense because there are quite a few things that could appeal to both. But regardless, the Federal Trade Commission basically has made it so that based on what your video is regulated as, if they deem it where you regulate it as the wrong thing, and like for an example, if you put it for not for kids and they manually review it and then they deem that it is for kids, they can fine you, which doesn't really make any sense because YouTube is the one collecting data, not content creators. So that, like me, so that doesn't make any sense. But I think the biggest problem is that YouTube has a thing where you can set your entire channel as not for kids or for kids. I personally don't monetize anything or make any money from YouTube whatsoever. So there are a few things that if your video is regulated as for kids, you basically lose like all of the money you would earn from monetization if that happens. But for me, like the more concerning part of it is that based on if they say that your video is one thing when you say it's for another, they can fine you. And I think the biggest problem is that for me personally, like I just primarily do video games. I mean, I I I don't think really any of my games would be for kids, like would be even in that age group, but at the same time, someone else looking at it from the outside might. For my videos personally, I don't use any language. That's just not who I am. Um, but there are like the 1% of my videos that have one of my friends using language, so I don't really have control over that. But so for my videos, like a a kid could watch my videos if, I mean, for the language side of things, like I might play games that have language, but I personally don't use language. So, in that sense, yeah, a kid could technically could watch my stuff without, depending on what it is, like without really any worry. But the thing is that I don't put an age restriction on anything. Like, I mean, a kid could watch my stuff if they want. I mean, I don't really care, but it, like, if I put it not for kids, like, it's not my responsibility to make it so kids don't watch my stuff. Even if it was, I don't have any methods of controlling that. So, so yeah, that's kind of the most bizarre thing. So yeah, like the fine thing is definitely the biggest problem with all of this, because I set my channel as not for kids. I mean, the content that I have is 13 and up, which is what they designate as, I mean, 12 and under is what they designate as kids. But I mean, the games that I cover are really really not for kids. But the thing is that if either YouTube manually reviews one of my videos and sets it as for kids, the FTC might go after that video, or the FTC manually reviews a video and sets it as the opposite thing. Like, either way, I could get a fine, and the fine is apparently up to over $40,000, and and even if I don't get that fine, like if I was taken for court regarding this, like, I don't know how much lawyers cost, but I'm pretty sure it's not cheap. So my biggest concern, and basically the main reason why I have decided that unless something changes regarding this rule significantly so, I'm most likely deleting my channel, because basically whether or not I get a fine is based on what someone else thinks is my intended audience. Like, what? For an example, the Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet game. It's, I mean, it has guns in it, but like when they put out the regulations of what they deem as for kids and what isn't, they had like some like key stuff, but like most of the things that they listed were so vague and so generic that it pretty much they basically are saying, you know, it could be anything, really. Like, they had, if you use specific words, if you use bright colors, if you use animation, or, well, have anything animation related and whatnot. And I was thinking, well, the Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet game is based on an anime show made into a game, so it's anime-like. Like, is that enough for someone from the outside to look at a video for 30 seconds or whatever and be like, oh, well, because it's anime themed, it must be for kids then? So it's just so vague that basically they might have just said, well, whatever we feel like. And the $40,000 fine is per video as well. And I just actually looked, and I have over 400 videos on my channel. Like, half of them are from 2 games, funnily enough. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. And yeah, like, whether or not I get a fine, even though that I'm doing everything in my power to regulate, you know, like, my intended audience is not for kids, but someone else from the outside can change that just because they feel like it. And whether or not that happens regards whether or not I get a fine, it just it just doesn't make any sense to me. And according to the law, like, I shouldn't even be targeted for anything because I'm not the one collecting the data that violates this law. So yeah, it's not my responsibility to keep kids off of my videos. I'm not gonna go out of my way to stop them, but it's not my responsibility either to look after kids of what they watch. Okay. Unless they're my kids, which I don't have any. So, but with that, moving forward, so I did have in this PowerPoint that I have, I didn't write a script for this. I don't write a script for any of my videos. And for some of them, you might be able to tell that quite extensively. But I have a few things I wanted to point out for some of this. So this was just kind of like the vision that I had for my channel, just as kind of like a what if type of thing, and or if for some reason this law gets revised enough to actually convince me to not delete my channel. This is what the vision that I had for my channel to be ultimately at this point. I mean, there might be a few things that I think of later and I don't mention, but this is kind of the gist of it. So the first thing in here I said is that I intended to have at least 2 or 3 different Let's Play projects going at the same time, roughly. So, like, alternating between them. Like, let's just say I upload, give an example of Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet and the Path of Exile to level 100, or something Path of Exile related, I guess, at this point. And like the Half-Life series, that would be the 3 different Let's Plays that I do, and maybe for one of them I either upload one video of one, then I go to the next one, upload one video, then the next one I do another, then do the third, or like maybe do 2 or 3 videos of one Let's Play and then switch to the next one and then the next one. And the main reason why I decided to do that at that point was, like I put in here, I am well aware that some of the games that I play are just not going to be appealing to some people. Like the Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet game. I kind of did that on a whim. Since I enjoyed the previous game in that series, I decided to do a blind Let's Play of that. I am well aware that some people are not interested in anime. It's just, how it is. I mean, and that's fine. I understand that. Or like the Half-Life series. What if people are just not interested in first-person shooters? That's fine. Or for Path of Exile, doing like I don't even know what genre you would consider that as, action RPG, I guess. But I had those 3 different things going that if you didn't like one, there would at least be 2 other options to choose from instead of waiting until I was done with one project. Like for an example, the Sword Online Fatal Bullet game, I've had that going for like over a year and a half, and I'm still technically not done with it. I have yet to upload like the ending of the 4th DLC, and then they're gonna add another update this winter on it, and then there was also a few side things that I wanted to do on top of that. So ultimately, that game is probably going to have like 130 parts of roughly 30-minute video, 30 to 50-minute videos. So imagining that, like, what if I only did that Let's Play at the time? Like, and even if it was still going, like, anyone who was not interested in that game would be out of anything else. So that is kind of a big reason why I want to do that. And after this point, after Sword Online Fatal Bullet, honestly, I'm probably not gonna if this channel is still going in 2020, I'm probably not gonna do any JRPGs ever again, or like really long, extensive games, because burnout is quite. I get burned out from doing those. So that's the reason why I decided to do that, and I think on paper anyway, I guess I don't really have enough viewers to really have data for that, view counts to regarding those, but on paper it sounds like a good idea. The other thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to do more reviews of games. I currently only have 2 reviews. My 47-minute Vega Conflict review that I honestly wanted to become, if I was bigger, I would want to become a meme, because 47 minutes on the game was way overextensive. And I did a review of Bendy and the Ink Machine after I finished it. So the whole goal of the reviews of it was, after I finished a Let's Play of a game, I wanted to do a review of that game while the game was still fresh in my mind. I just recently played it, so I can collect my thoughts in one video and either recommend it or not recommend it, or using my rating system, rate the game and everything. Also, for the reviews, I kind of wanted to extend that to games that I didn't specifically want to Let's Play if I didn't think that either my viewers would want to watch, or it was like a genre that was way too different from what I've already done, or if it was a game that I specifically didn't want to Let's Play of, like JRPGs, for an example. After Sword Online Fatal Bullet would be a good example of that. So reviews I definitely wanted to do more of. I just didn't get around to it, and the games that I played with Warmonger, I also wanted Warmonger with me recording the reviews for those games, and it just hasn't happened. And with me possibly most likely deleting this channel by 2020, I guess that's not going to happen. Like, we were planning on doing like the Magica 1 and 2 reviews together, and then the Path of Exile 1, but oh well. And then the third thing was that I wanted to do special Let's Plays themed around a holiday or something, or a special thing. The most prominent one would be the Halloween special, where I play a Let's Play of some kind of horror game. And I really had a good time doing Bendy and the Ink Machine, and unfortunately, with this whole deal, I planned on doing Resident Evil 1 Remake for my Halloween special, which I guess it would be technically a Christmas special by this point, but I'm I'm not even going to start that until I'm sure whether or not I'm going to stay. But from the look of it, I'm not going to stay on YouTube. So, and then other monthly projects for certain occasions, like do it in May, possibly doing a Star Wars themed Let's Play for the May the 4th Be With You deal. That would certainly have been a possibility. I haven't done one yet, but those are just some examples. And during those months, I would probably focus on just having the one Let's Play, or at least maybe I would upload, I don't know, 3 or 4 regarding that certain special, and then maybe do one video for each of the 3 Let's Plays that I was doing before, like just to have at least a tiny bit of the other ones going, if I still wanted that diversity at that time. So those are a few things that I wanted to cover. So the big question at this point too is that if I ever come back to YouTube, what would I do? Would I continue doing what I'm doing, or would I try to do something else? And well, I thought about it. I personally don't think I would ever make a Let's Play channel again, and there are a few specific reasons for that. With the law, it really with that age rating thing, it really concerns me. And I kind of wanted to streamline things. I felt like with my YouTube channel, I kind of diversified too quickly. Like for an example, when I would do Magico 1, and that would be like a magic, well, of course, magic like side scrolling sort of action game ish, and then I did Path of Exile, which is like a Diablo like action RPG, and then all of a sudden I did Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet, which was an anime shooter. Like, I just stretched out doing different genres too quickly. So if I did make another channel, I would try to stick more so to one genre, or at least like somewhat close to that, and then possibly branch out further along the line. But when I thought about it, I was thinking, well, I would probably make a YouTube channel called not YouTube, Canon Lowy Tanks. I'm a bit tired, sorry, and stressed out a bit about this stuff. I would make a YouTube channel called Canon Lowy Tanks, and it would be like this states here. I would concentrate more on one genre or game, and if I did make Canon Lowy Tanks, it would be about World of Tanks, Armored Warfare, and or War Thunder Ground Forces, because all those games have a tank game mode, and World of Tanks and War Thunder kind of more so on like the older tanks and stuff, and then Armored Warfare is the modern one. So they're very similar is kind of what I'm getting at. But the also thing too is that though all three of those games are rated T for teen, for as far as I'm aware, in the United States. So if there was ever a problem of, something being thought of as for kids, I could say then these games are rated T for teen, therefore it should not have kid viewers. Now, am I gonna go out of my way to have like an age restriction or anything like that? No, but I would at least have that to kind of fall back on, if that makes any sense. So with all of them being rated T and up, so there is that. Those are kind of like the main things that made me think of that solution instead. But honestly, with the whole deal, I really, if I quit now, I honestly don't think I would really have a big enough reason to come back. Unfortunately, just because this rule now, like, there are gonna be probably rules later that could be worse than this. Like, a lot of people were talking about how bad, like, the ad apocalypse was for people who relied on ads for revenue and whatnot. But like, and then now they have this whole deal, which is on paper anyway much worse than that. Like, if this is how it's going, like, what's going to happen in the next few years? And also in the YouTube terms of service, there's actually a thing that says that if your channel is not commercially viable, they can terminate your channel. Well, actually your whole Google account if they want. Which apparently that's not what they meant according to posts that they put on social media. But the thing is that since they have not changed it, well, I guess I didn't go out of my way to actually read that thoroughly through it recently, but from what I know, ironically from the most recent Mingles with Jingles episode that came out this Monday, regarded that, since they have not changed it, well, since I'm not monetizing anything or putting ads on anything, they could be like, well, you're not making us any money, and because our terms of service, we didn't rewrite that, we could we could say that, oh, well, it's in here, so your channel is just gone like that. And that doesn't that doesn't exactly bode well with me either. So that's kind of like the things, how it's going for this whole thing. I know I'm probably being pretty rambly. I guess that's what happens when you have a talkie video without a script. But yeah, that's kind of like my main thoughts. But regarding that, my channel. So before I most likely delete it, I wanted to encourage any of my viewers, or if anyone views this moving forward before I delete it, I want to put out there, this video is pretty much for, you're getting a 3, possibly, depending on how I feel, 3 to 4 week notice before I delete the channel. So if there are any Let's Plays that interest you, if there are any videos that you have liked that you want to go back to for any reason, now would be the time. My channel, when I made it for first and started doing more videos, I originally made it primarily for my friends and family and whoever decided to to drop by. And well, for my friends and family too, here's your notice right now for anyone viewing this. If at this point, I'm most likely deleting it in 3 to 4 weeks in December. So if there's anything that interests you, any playlists, games that I have done that interest you, now would be the time to view them. I did put out this list here. These are just a few ones that I thought were done pretty well. The Bendy and Ink Machine, I do believe, this is kind of like going from my perspective, the quality of commentary, in a sense. So Bendy and Ink Machine, I do believe, to this day, I think is the best commentated video series that I have done. I don't know why that is. Ironically, it was from the Halloween special. It is when I rewatch my own videos and I actually find it entertaining to watch, then I know it's really good, because obviously listening to my own voice is just kind of weird at most times, let alone enjoyable. So actually finding one to be enjoyable is pretty exciting. So Bendy and Ink Machine, if you're into anything, if you're into horror games, Bendy and Ink Machine is definitely, in my opinion, like my best commentated video series. I also have on here Magico 1 with Warmonger was pretty fun. Pretty much like any video that I do with Warmonger, I do believe is kind of like above average for me, just because I think having him along like really makes stuff more enjoyable, primarily because when I'm by myself, there are a lot of times where I just can't think of stuff to say, or I think of stuff, or I like say stuff that, like, I don't know, doesn't really add anything. Like, for an example, like Half-Life 2, the Half-Life 2 on Hard series that I did, a lot of the beginning I would like go on about like, oh well, Half-Life 1 has this amount of ammo compared to like the Half-Life 2 weapons, and there's such a big difference, and going over those things, and it's just kind of like, well, yeah, that's kind of nice trivia, but like does in my mind anyway, like, does the viewer like really care about that? That's just kind of the best example that I have. And then I have a lot of Path of Exile videos with Warmonger in them. Like pretty much like 80% of the videos that I made for like to the level 100 series are with Warmonger, and like the Blight map adventures and stuff, like he's in there. So anything, pretty much anything with Warmonger in them, I do believe is kind of is a lot better. So these are just the three playlists that I found in my playlist tab that I thought were above average in a sense. So obviously I'll look on there and see if any of the games that I've done interest you, but these are just a few of them that if you're at all if any of that sounds interesting, you could check it out. So yeah, so going forward, am I going to upload any more videos besides this one? The answer is that yes, I am planning to, but not very many. And I'm not starting any new projects until I have made the decision whether or not to delete this. So, what I would be finishing is the current Let's Play of In Passing. I'm going to finish that primarily. And then I'm planning to upload the last Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet stuff that I have, which basically finishes up DLC 4 of that game. So at least like the story aspect is finished, if any of you have been watching that. And then lastly, I was thinking about, I have recorded a few Path of Exile Blight Map adventures parts on my hard drive that I could upload as well. So those would be the only things that I would pretty much upload at this point. So there is that. So that is just kind of like a brief overview. It's probably been 30 minutes, judging by the way things go. But those are the main things that I wanted to point out. I don't really try to self-advertise. I just kind of feel like, well, if I make a video that sounds interesting to you, then it's up to you to click on it. Like, I don't go out there and be like, oh, well, this is my best video yet, or this is my most enjoyable series that I have made. Like, I just don't do that. Okay. So, unfortunately, with this whole deal, that's kind of, that's what I'm doing. But I just wanted to just throw it out there, 3 to 4 weeks until I most likely will delete the channel. So, lastly, I just wanted to make a brief mention, or yeah, I would just call it a brief mention, that my favorite YouTuber that I think out of everything inspired me to do YouTube content was still is Rowan Mithril. He is a YouTuber who originally started out with Mega Man. He has done perfect runs, which basically means doing stages without taking any damage and using the Mega Buster only. He has done he has done pretty much every Mega Man game out there except for he hasn't perfect run Mega Man 11 yet, but he has other content too. I actually found him, well, at least over 5 years ago, through his Halloween special, ironically enough, of the Silent Hill games. Silent Hill 2 and 3, I do believe, was I think I might have found him while he was in the middle of finishing Silent Hill 2. So that is really ironic. And him doing Halloween special is why I did primarily why I did Benny and the Ink Machine, and it turned out great. I mean, from what from my opinion of it, it turned out pretty good. So I just wanted to say a big thank you to Roll Mithril that not only does he make really good content that I really enjoy, but he also was the one who inspired me to really make anything on here. So, um, and the whole Kappa thing really concerns me because Mega Man, like, would that even be would that be considered for kids or would it not? Like, I mean, it worries me on to a degree about that and what could potentially. I mean, we really don't know until January of 2020 comes. We really don't know what the FTC will actually do. I mean, since I'm such a small channel in a sense, they might just flat out don't care about me or whatever. But am I gonna take that risk? No. Unfortunately, I'm not. But I just wanted to say a thank you to Royal Mithril for doing that. I thought there was one other thing I was gonna mention. I'm losing it. and yeah, it's I've been recording for a good bit now, but just wait a few seconds, see if I can remember it. Yeah, I guess I forgot it. Well, if it's important enough, I'll put it in the comments or something. But yeah, I really wanted to say thank you to Royal Mithril and and if he somehow watches this, keep doing what you're doing. Oh yeah, what I was gonna mention was it, the way that he does content, like his commentary and stuff, is that he actually. I'm not a person who is interested in Pokemon whatsoever, but he was able to make it Pokemon of all things. I mean, considering what I typically do on video games and stuff, or what video games I play, like Pokemon is nowhere close to that. And he was able to, with his commentary, make it enjoyable for me. Now, well, also he doesn't use any language as well. And ultimately, when I was making Let's Plays, I really wanted to strive to be a YouTuber like him. I mean, obviously with different games and different styles of games and whatnot, but to be similar to how he does things in that sense. So not only an inspiration, but kind of as a model in a sense too. So I just wanted to make that out there. So with that remembered, it's time for me to end this video. So to all of my viewers, friends and family, and anyone who stopped by my channel and watched anything, I wanted to say thank you very much for watching. I honestly, considering, like I said, I thought that I branched out too fast, diversified too fast, to really have a solid following. I didn't really think that I would reach 55 subscribers, so and everything. So I kind of feel like, given a few years, I could have I think I could have gone somewhere with it as a whole and everything. So I wanted to say thank you very much for watching my content. I really hope that it was enjoyable, or if you watched one of my either reviews or informational videos, that that they were informative. And I wanted to especially say thank you to anyone who made comments too. I mean, making a comment, it doesn't really sound like much, really. But during the Bendy and Ink Machine Let's Play, I had a viewer named Morningstar AF. I do believe. Hopefully, I'm getting that right. I didn't look before starting this recording. Sorry, but he made comments on the Bendy and the Ink Machine series about various things, and honestly, that made me really happy. I mean, it wasn't it was pretty it was simple stuff, but it made me happy to have that engagement in a sense. And Morningstar as well, he may, well, I mean, I don't know, presuming that he is he, that he made a comment on the In Passing series, that he was enjoying that. Like, I was like, hey, welcome back. and it just made me really happy. So I just wanted to say that too. So if Morningstar AF, if you're watching this, thanks for the comments. I really appreciate it. So with that, finally end this channel update video. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, have a wonderful day.